Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm experimenting with a couple of things at the moment. I'm experimenting with putting my phone, of which I'm speaking to you, I'm experimenting with putting it up on top of my Kleenex box, which is a bit precarious, but I want to make sure that you can see that kind of road trip concept behind me. Shannon and German Maid and user 6675309 RM and Yesy. Good morning. Yes, this 7 a.m. TikTok Live is where's my microphone? How can I not have my Mr. Microphone? It's going out by special request. This is a special request, 7 a.m. TikTok Live, because somebody said they missed my Tuesday 7 a.m.s. So here we are. Here we are. As you may tell from my voice, said they missed my Tuesday 7 a.m.s. So here we are. Here we are. As you may tell from my voice and my demeanor at the moment, I'm still waking up, and maybe you are too. It takes a while. You don't go in a short amount of time, but we will warm up our engines together and start moving a little bit more, less slowly perhaps, if we choose to. Now, I don't know why I'm saying we as if it's the royal we. I'm just quickly right over here, just so you know, checking, because I have two computer screens, checking out if we have any more 7 a.m. TikTok Lives. We do. Okay, next week I got one scheduled. So there we go. I hope this appeals. Laura Gibbon Voorhees, good morning. So yeah, somebody said, and this is how I roll, and I think this is how the universe rolls. Becky, okay, so rainy in Pittsburgh. It's raining in Pittsburgh. My hair is a mess. Little known song that was on the Grease soundtrack, if you had the record. I didn't have the record. I had the 78. I'm not that old. I had the 8-track my dad gave me. But we had some crazy rain last night. So much so that a boom of thunder or a crack of lightning woke me up. I put a tarp. I bought a tarp yesterday and put it over our new patio furniture because I want to take care of the stuff that I own. And I'm going to wait till my husband's up because I want to. There's water all over it because of all the torrential rains, and we're getting more rain today. The neat thing is, I will share this with you, Becky, is we replanted a plant. Just waking up my vocabulary as well. We replanted a plant in our front yard from the side yard to the front yard garden yesterday or the last week. We obviously did not need to rain to water it yesterday, did we? Now, it's funny, Laura Gibbon Voorhees says, nice colorful shirt. Those of you who remember my YouTube lives and TikTok lives from last summer may recall that this is my summer breeze. It's my summer robe. The summer robe came whistling in across the sea. I always like to have something on my arms. It's so weird. I get this thing where my upper arms, when they get cold, it's I don't want to say painful, but I really don't like it. So this is in lieu of having a black hoodie on. And once the weather gets nicer on the patio and it's not so humid or raining, I will do some TikTok lives and YouTube lives outside. But in the meantime, here I am, as you are, and you're walking. That's great. Yeah. So I love it. Ooh, AC Wild, good for you for being up at 5 a.m. Yeah, I used to have a 6 a.m. client. I hope she's doing well. I haven't heard from her in a while. And that prompted me to be up anyway at 6 a.m. and then might as well do a 7 a.m. because then I have an 8 a.m. client. So yeah, let's start the day together feeling good. So a couple of things. One is please hydrate. Give your body something to work with. Just some plain old water. Maybe you take supplements, maybe you don't, maybe you take some vitamins, yeah, so it's 7 a.m. right here. Yeah, so do I have any goals for the summer? Yeah, AC Wild, my goals for the summer are the goals for the year round. It just tends to be a little bit more warm, is have fun, feel good, yeah, help people, say yes to opportunities that arrive that seem interesting, say no to things that I don't care to do. I know that sounds very vague, and I say be more specific about things, but I know that I can then attune, I can calibrate what I choose to do and to see if it fits that. So it's working for me so far. I will say, like, am I looking up? Yeah. So, well, first of all, I totally forgot about this. Hopefully, if none of you have spoken out loud today, this used to be a tradition we would do with friends in junior high and high school, and it's just stuck with me to say bunny, 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 or rabbit, rabbit on the morning of the first day of the month. It's supposed to be good luck. I said it last night when I woke up with the thunder. But that being said, happy July 1st. I'm obviously going to need to make a new July playlist on YouTube to house the recordings for Destination Decluttered recordings. Right now, starting off the month, we've got 760, And what I want to suggest to you is, and in case we haven't met now, again, it's early yet. My name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Now I can point to that heart behind me on the wall without my head getting in the way, because every day you're here. You're at the beginning of a journey every day. You've got your daily journey, weekly, monthly, yearly, your summer, your journey through life. And what I help you do, ideally, both clutter-wise and otherwise, as I like to say, is I like to show up to teach you the tools to help you get started moving in the direction that you want to go, which is the direction of your destination. Okay, so that's what I do. I love this. AC says, I just returned from Ohio, now in North Dakota, and my house was much cleaner. The decluttering worked. Yeah. Decluttering worked. Good for you. It must feel good to return home to a less cluttered home, huh? Now, sometimes we notice the drama of that when we return home after not being home for a number of days, but do not underestimate the power of walking into your home. Every time you walk through a door, estimate the power of walking into your home. Every time you walk through a door in your house, and instead of feeling, ugh. Interesting. Laura Gibbon Voorhees says, I wasn't happy with cleaning when she was cleaning because Hubs prioritized stuff that I didn't think was right. Okay? Now, we all have our own opinions. We do. I get into a similar situation with my husband. What we try to do, and it's not 100%, but I will just offer this, and maybe you've already done this, so she's like, yeah, been there, done that. If you don't let people know what you want, it's so much harder to get it. What do I mean by that? Like, if there's a certain way, and I know I may be overly detaily about this stuff because I am detail-oriented about a lot of things. My husband can do the dishes, and it's good enough for him. And I just say, well, if you just did this one little bit, it would make you happy, it would make me happy, and then I'm not going to bug you about it. So many of us have a different level of, like, this is good. Good is fine. So share that with your mate. Do not do it in a way of you did it wrong, but almost as if, and this may sound a little bit, I don't know, whatever, but I like to think of the way in which we would speak to a colleague at work in a professional environment versus how you may talk to your mate or a kid or somebody you're super close to. You wouldn't dismiss the project that they completed. You would praise them for what they did, ideally. But if there's room for improvement, if there's an extra 10% that they could have done that wouldn't take a lot to get it from a B to an A+, let's say, please, and I say this to everybody, find out the things that are bugging you and what can you do to change them. Okay? So, I love it. AC Wild found a metaphor for life. Oh my gosh, and please write it down. It's is a house that is open and has the breeze of life blowing through. Yes, I love the feeling of having the windows open and the air being not too humid, not too hot, and just the fresh summer breeze, as Seals and Crofts would say, going through. Sometimes you can't do that though, so you do other things. So I love that. I love that. And a clean house makes life amazing. My goodness, hon, 5 a.m. and you are on a roll. Please capture these insights and pieces of wisdom for yourself. Write them in what I call your travel journal, your good book. I hope you have a book where you're keeping your good ideas and your good thoughts and the stuff that you've made happen. Okay, that one persona, good morning. Happy 7 a.m. TikTok Live. Yeah. Now, Laura is saying, I find it hard to say anything because he closes down so quickly. So again, this is going to be one of those subtle arts of communicating in a way that somebody doesn't shut down. I know myself. I will be awesome with you, okay? I will be honest with you. My family's hypersensitive. We are very hyper aware of feeling judged and feeling what do you call it? Like told we're not doing a good job, being not scolded, but something along those lines. So I know what it's like to be afraid that somebody's going to tell me I did a bad job. You know, it's criticized. Thank you. That's my brain saying, oh, it's criticizing. So that's why I say lead with the good stuff. Thank you so much for doing what you were doing. I love this. Is it cool with you if there's a few things that if you did the next time, I'm just saying this was so good. So build up that it's 90% good and it's the 10%. Could be. But you know how your dynamic is with your mate more than I do. So again, this is why I'm not a relationship counselor. But what I will say is, just because he shuts down doesn't mean you should not continue to try to communicate, but do it in a way that feels effective. Okay? Shutting down is a way of shutting you down because then you don't talk. And that's, I don't know. But that's not why we're here. Again, I feel like, honestly, I'm out of my depth. I want to give you good advice, but I say, you deserve to be in a relationship where somebody communicates and you're not afraid of the one another. Okay? Alrighty, my goodness. When I show up at 7 a.m. and I think it's early, there are others of you who are like, I'm like my fake microphone, my other fake, but baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Kat Roby is up at 4 a.m. Whew. She's got her scheduled Beth Blinders on, write the dinner party list, do some laundry, and work on some papers from the bench. I love it. My goodness, my early morning people. I will have to keep this in mind and I'm just looking here, I know we have a 7 a.m. TikTok Live scheduled for next week. And maybe after that, I'll continue to do at least one, So some of us are early birds and some of us are night owls. And I offer that to you as a way to say, to work with how you're wired. Now, Kat Roby loves these times. That's great. One thing I love is that I'll be done here at 8 a.m. and then I can get some good stuff done. And I have plenty of time before I do my next thing. So if you are up and it's feeling good, yay, let's do some good stuff together. Maybe, and this is the other thing I say too, and this comes from I don't want to say productivity, but this is a declutter tool in your toolkit, as it were, as well as other parts of your life, is schedule the things that you find tough to do during the time of day where you have the most gas in your tank. Now, to me, that is somewhere, I would say, between 8 a.m. and noon or 2, 8, in general. Okay? And I love it. Hey, Kat Roby, early bird gets the wormy. Very cool. So, on the flip side, don't expect yourself to do the stuff that you dread doing, which is pretty much decluttering often, because that's why you're showing up, is for me to help you kind of take the dread out. Don't expect yourself to do a great job of that if you're tired. If your physical energy tank, like your gas tank gauge, if your physical energy gas tank is on the low side, and also your energetic is on the low side. Now, I'm awake physically, but it's going to take a while for my body to warm up, my engine to warm up, so my brain is moving like my body is. Okay? So, yeah, AC Wild, my tough stuff. I live in a red state where I'm not accepted. That sucks. I'm sorry, but you're accepted here. I need to declutter to survive. Survival is a motivator. It really is. It really is. So, yay. And decluttering will make it possible for you to move. Yes, 100%. And please, I share this with you from a blue state, red state, but also from a bloom. You can try to bloom where you're planted, but let me do the garden metaphors. I actually wrote a book. Here, this is really funny. Okay, so AC Wild, this is for you. Okay, hold on, because I know exactly where this thing is. So I was decluttering, and I used to write stuff for this zine in Delaware when we lived there. Funny thing is, April of 2004, I wrote an article called "Bloom Damn It," and it was all about how somebody once told me, and I get this concept of bloom where you're planted. You can bloom where you're planted, but sometimes you are planted in soil that is not going to allow you to flourish. Let's say you're like, I'm totally making this up because I'm not like a garden person. Cactuses do well in the sand in the desert. So you plant a cactus in the desert, it does well. If you're like a rose bush and you're planted in the desert, you can try your best. And you're only going to grow so much, okay? What I have discovered in my own life, so I share this with you. You can do your best to bloom in soil that's not meant for you. You're only going to grow so big. Find this soil that's going to nutritionize you, that's going to nurture you, that's going to give you the nutrients you need to not only bloom but flourish. Okay? I know what a difference it is that when I moved from, we moved from one place in Delaware to another, and then that really wasn't it. And then we moved here, and we are blossoming. We are blooming all over the place and have done, okay? You can amend your soil. You can, but thinking of amending the soil around a plant, you can do it just around that one plant, but the concentric circles out there, sometimes you can try to change your environment, but sometimes it can be overwhelming to do so because of the scale of what you would need to do. So for self-preservation, it may be more, if you want to move, you can replant yourself. Yes, there could be an oasis. Find your people, no lie. Yes. But I just offer that if you're feeling like you don't belong, you can try, but also be on the lookout. And here's the thing. Yeah, good soil includes the biomass of long, deep roots. Yeah. The neat thing is about this conversation is because this also goes back to your home and decluttering. When you are in an environment that you don't feel good in, this is where I offer get specific. What is it that I don't like about this environment? This can be where you live. It can be the ability to get resources you need. It could be the ability to easily meet kindred spirits. It can be the lack of, ethnic diversity or architectural diversity, the lack of walkability, the lack of safety, the lack of access to things you enjoy, the lack of things. But think of when you identify what the place that you don't like doesn't have, you are also creating a roadmap to be on the lookout for places that do check those boxes. okay? And decluttering will allow you to do both. It will allow you to stay in a place that you love and feel good about it. That's what I'm doing right now. Hasn't always been that way, but for the last 20 years, I have loved where I live. On the flip side, when you declutter, you will more easily be able to pick up and move to a garden that has more fertile soil for you. Okay? Do not give up. I think that's a worthy cause. And yes, it really bums me out that there are places that I don't care to travel anymore because of what's going on politically. And not just what's going on politically, but what has gone on politically that reveals things about people that I have thought that there's more good people, you know what I mean? That the scales were a little bit more dramatic in the kind of good people, bad people thing. Okay? But, you know, and Laura Gibbon Voorhees says, yes, you've brought up so many parameters. And the reason I have is because I did not feel happy in the 2 years that we moved from the beach to, frankly, outside of Wilmington, Delaware, because I didn't know what I wanted. But man, do you find out what you want when you're in an environment where you're like, well, hell, I know this isn't it, you know? Now, Jelly Bee says, I love what you're saying. Do you have any ideas on how to find the perfect place for a person? Perfection does not exist. Perfection does not exist. Even in my town right here, there's plenty of imperfections. So set the bar lower than perfect. Never go for perfection unless you're, you know, a brain surgeon or something that desires. For many things, perfection is going to get you always finding what is missing. What I say to you, Jelly Bee, and to say to anybody, is really clue into what is important to you. Now, I say often when we are out driving around in the hinterlands of whatever state we're in, like Pennsylvania or whatever, that there are many people who are hopefully happy out where they live. And I say out because I realized how much I like living in a place that's walkable, that is close to an international airport, that's close to a cosmopolitan city. I would not thrive in a cookie cutter suburb away from in the exurbs type of thing. That's me though. I hope when I drive past those, you know, McMansion things that they're building up on the farmland around me, I hope that the people there are truly happy. But notice, as the square pegs would say, one size does not fit all. And that one size does not fit all brings us back to decluttering, which is defining within the walls of one room of your home, what makes you feel good in that room? What are the specific qualities that in that room would make you feel good? You may not be there yet. You may look around and see all the flaws, but those flaws are clues to what you do want, because it's the opposite. So if you can think of 3 crabby things that you say about your kitchen, declutter-wise, flip them over and you know what to do then to make it feel better. Now, speaking of kitchen, excuse me, I've barely had a sip of tea, and Kat Roby's already got her dinner planned, her laundry started, and her changed her bed yesterday during her 5-minute work breaks. I love it. Yeah, and I love it. Also, appreciating what you have makes you want to maintain it. We enjoy where we live, and so we actively participate in keeping it that way. We support local businesses. We are friends with a number of people in town who own businesses. We will go down when they do a First Friday, and we will, you know, eat and drink at the local restaurants. We will sing the praises of our town. So that, I mean, here's a fun thing. Travel and Leisure just named our little town of Phoenixville, PA, like the #1 small town to live in America. Now, when we moved here, people were literally saying, why the hell are you moving there? That nobody moves there. We saw something in it. It's taken 20 years and people catch on. But notice, for 20 years, there were people who were like actively avoiding. I've heard horror stories about this town around the time we moved in and even before. So I say to you, kind of bloom where you're planted, but if where you're planted is sandy soil, so funny. Here's what I wrote in 2004, just because it's in front of me. Suddenly it dawned on me, maybe it was not my fault that I had yet to bloom. I haven't read this since 2004, so I'm interested in hearing about it as you guys. Suddenly it dawned on me, maybe it was not my fault that I had yet to bloom, but merely a lack of the proper nutrients and environment that kept me at the bud stage. In nature, orchids would wither and die in the desert, but they flourish in steamy swamps. Indeed, a cactus, I am so me, I'm using the same metaphors, a cactus would not last but a moment in the soggy soil that kept the orchid happy. You would not lay blame on either for not blooming where they're planted, because they were simply planted where they were not meant to be. Excited by this revelation, I dream planted because they were simply planted where they were not meant to be. Excited by this revelation, I dream about, and this is interesting, I will share with you guys. I always think about, I live right now, and I know I'm going kind of off on a tangent, but I feel this is important, is within 1 year of writing this, I lived in this house that we've been here for 2 nights. I said, excited by this revelation, I dream about my ideal garden. The place where the soil will be chock full of the things I need to thrive. And this is what I came up with. Filled with supportive and encouraging people, all clued into the fact that there is more to life than the things advertised on TV. A place where old buildings were not torn down and replaced by malls and oversized McMansions. A downtown area like where I grew up, where you could walk and get whatever you needed. A single-screen movie house, preferably a rescued old theater. I have a soft spot for those. A place that would support live music and the arts, maybe a park where we could walk the dog. A farmer's market, antique stores, an ice cream parlor. These are the things that are important to me. I have yet to find this dream garden, but now I know what to look for. I also have learned that my ideal environment is not everyone's, but that's okay. When it is the right place and the right time, then it will be the time to plant some roots and bloom and grow. In the meantime, you will find me spending a lot of time on Main Street in Newark, because that's where I was selling mid-century modern stuff. Okay? So the crazy thing is this reminds me of, I pretty much am thinking that we may have been introduced to this town when I wrote that. Because some of the things that are specific there, because it would be freakishly weird if I had never been to the town that I live in now that checks so many of those boxes and had written about exactly what I wanted. I would have literally kind of manifested, okay? I don't think that's the case. I have a feeling we visited here once because my husband had a gig here. And it was early on when we had our pup, and I think it was cold. So I'm pretty sure I had known about this town. But I had no idea if it was going to be filled with the people we wanted. But there was something about this town that drew me towards it. It's a magnet. What can I say? Look for the things that you are a magnet to. Look at the things you're repelled against, you know? AC Wild said, did you stay in a difficult place for a long time prior to moving? No, we had moved from the beach up to a starter home outside of Wilmington, Delaware, that we hoped for the best. We hoped for all of those things. And they had some of them, but just not at the quantity, with the scale we needed. We moved, and it was okay, but we really realized this was not where we wanted to be long term. Okay? And user 8675309, as I like to say, it says, kids are gone and considering retirement, time to declutter and find a new garden for blooming. Yeah. And so decluttering can help you do that. When you bloom, like let's say, for example, I have found a new place and I don't plan on moving from here, trust me. But finding a place that's like a magnet that you return to again and again, and there's many things you enjoy about it. Palm Springs, you've heard me mention it, is mine. It made it so much easier for me to declutter the house we live in and transform it into something we enjoy by saying to myself, if we were to move to a place where we were blooming, what would I want to bring with me? Now it's funny because I remember moving in here and there were plenty of things from our old place that we brought in thinking we might use, and we didn't, and we ended up, donating them. We also did a heavy amount of thrifting in the first 10 plus years that we lived here. And yet, when I said, this is good, we have enough, I could lighten my load. And what do I like about a house in Palm Springs? I like when the sun comes in. I like, that idea of those kind of, I was picturing bright white walls with pops of color. Bright white with pops of color. Not a lot of darkness, making it warm and kind of funky and mid-century, but yet have some personality. So the more you can tune into what you want, it's funny. So Carol Burke says, think I visited there 40 years ago, maybe visited a factory. You may have, because we had a number of factories, and in from early on, it was a steel town, but then greedy people moved the steel worker jobs out to somewhere else where they could pay people cheaper. And so that really had an effect on our town. It was a place where I used to joke that, like, had we learned about it, if we learned about it early enough, if you knew what it was going to be, we could have bought, like, downtown, like, Monopoly. I'll take that hotel and that house and that, like with Monopoly money. Okay? There we go. Okay, so you're about an hour from Philly in Maryland. Yeah. So Phoenixville, PA. Look it up. Travel and Leisure just said we're pretty awesome, and I think we are too. Yeah. They're, and why? And here's, again, notice when you don't invest in something, it becomes a shell. If you don't love on your home, it becomes just a shell. Love on your home. And even if you don't love it now, make it the best it can be, because you will thrive in an environment where an environment of love. Okay? I say this again to come back to decluttering. Maybe you're not in your dream house right now, but could you pretend it is? What would you do differently if this was your dream house? Would you be dumping your clothes on the floor of the bedroom of your dream house? Or would you pick them up after you take them off and walk them to the hamper in the bathroom and put them in the hamper? Would you keep on adding stuff to it? Yes, you will thrive in an environment. Everybody thrives in an environment of love. When the love is gone is when, things become a shell of their former selves. There we go. Anastasia, that's a really good thing. Just decluttered all the heavy furniture and replaced with newer, lighter that would be easier to move. Yeah. Just decluttered all the heavy furniture and replaced with newer, lighter that would be easier to move. Yeah. There we go. Laura Gibbon Voorhees says we are planning on remodeling, making it more aesthetically pleasing and comfortable for us and guests. When you have that, when you are just planning a remodel, you're going to feel what's not working for you existingly in your house, and you're going to create the version of what you think would make it better. I want it lighter, more spacious, whatever it is that you're getting. If it's dark and cramped, you might want light and spacious. If it feels heavy with all the heavy furniture, maybe you get lighter furniture that's easier to move around, And I love it. Now, I love this. Kat Roby is on a roll. She is putting me to shame, which is great. I don't mind it because I get stuff to do after this. She has done the papers from her bench. Now she is in bonus territory, and she's got a half an hour to do so if she's sticking around on this Destination Decluttered, TikTok Live. It's early yet. What can I say? Now we're in bonus territory. Want to clear and use the antique writing desk. Awesome, hun. Awesome. Yeah. Now need to donate all the clothes. They're heavy. Yeah. Yep. So in case you're just new here, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Okay? So I help you declutter your home by really honestly starting with kind of decluttering your head and heart so you know what you're aiming for, what your destination is. Because if you don't know, what's that old adage? If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. If you don't know where you're going, you're just kind of meandering, right? You're just kind of maybe driving in circles. You go out to that place and you come back home, and you go out there and you come home. You're really not on a trip to life. Now, I was in that a long time. It took a lot for me. Yeah, it took a lot for me to even, I cried tears of stress and fear when we were moving here because I was so afraid of trying to go for what I wanted. It's a story between my husband and me and a friend of ours who had moved a lot. I hadn't moved a lot. My mother still lives in the house. My mother has basically lived in like 3 houses in her life. So moving felt very uncomfortable. Now I love this. User 616440 says, instead of the traditional July 4th weekend, I'm declaring my independence from clutter instead. Yes, everybody, declare your independence from clutter. No more clutter, like no more kings. Remember that from a couple of weekends ago and from Schoolhouse Rock? Yeah, I am, just so you guys know, Friday, July 4th through Sunday, July 6th, I literally wrote this on the secret screen. I'm declaring my independence from a schedule. I may do some pop-up TikToks on the 4th, 5th, or 6th. We shall see. But I want you to enjoy the holiday weekend. Now, just because you live in a home, like Love Bear says, I lived in the home I raised my family in for 36 years. Yeah. And so what does it mean to declare your independence from clutter? You're saying, I don't like how the clutter makes me feel or is treating me, so I'm going to break away from it. I'm going to separate my stories from that stuff. I'm no longer going to be stuck with that no more kings. We're not going to be part of that. I'm going to separate myself from the clutter. And then I can't separate myself from myself, but I can separate myself from the stuff I don't want anymore. I'm tired of this stuff. I don't want that. I don't want taxation without representation. I don't know. I'm kind of getting into Schoolhouse Rock. So I don't know how long that metaphor will last, but you know what I mean. At any point, today's the 1st of the month. Speaking of 1st of the month, people, couple of good things. New habit tracker time. New habit tracker time. How did I do my other one? My other one I did pretty well. I see a hell of a lot more pavers than I do potholes. So I'm feeling good about that. Beginning of the month, the beginning of the second half of the year. July, August, September, October, November, December. We're halfway through the 3 months here and 3 months here. You're halfway through the year. You know? There we go. And yes, Bonnie says, I'm on vacation this week. I bought the paint for my bedroom as a goal, but decluttering first. Yes, please do not try to paint with the clutter around. The painting can be a good opportunity for you to declutter a room. This room that I'm sitting in right now is a perfect example. It had not been painted since we moved in. Let's say whenever it was 2020, we moved in 2005. So 15 years, this room still had its kind of builder grade sloppy paint. Old pictures, you'll see that it's like brown doors and stuff like that. During COVID, I said to my husband, we're stuck in the house. This is my room, but it's getting too cluttered. It seriously was. I've shared pictures of it. Moving everything out of a room, but being mindful of it. Saying, is there stuff in here that I don't want? Well, I wasn't sure at the time. So we put the stuff away and we categorized it in the living room because nobody was showing up. Actually, there are videos that I did for my other website back in the day, Retro Roadmap, where I did lives similar to this, but different. It was about travel. And you can see the stuff piled up in the backyard, the back of me. Then being mindful about what I wanted to put in. I loved how this room looked and I was very mindful about what I added. And I realized that I had way too much stuff, that adding too many things was not giving me the space I loved. You know? Now, Anastasia says, I went to a church rummage sale these weekends. I keep asking myself why. It's overwhelming clutter now. Yeah. Habit. Notice where you might be doing things that you used to enjoy, that used to bring you joy, that used to enjoy, imbue you with joy, that maybe just doesn't do it for you anymore. Anastasia, when I talked about kind of being in a circle and driving in a circle, I literally was picturing myself getting in my car here and driving out way past Reading, PA to a number of thrift shops that I used to go to. That was my happy place. I loved being on a road trip and seeing all the old businesses and going out and thrifting. That brought me joy. Then I started noticing that it kind of wasn't as joyful as it was. I was kind of like, I'm not finding any good stuff. Even when I find stuff, I bring it home and then it just kind of sits there. It's not something I need, so it was starting to accumulate my stuff and it just wasn't fun anymore. Yeah, it's boring. It doesn't do it for me. But you're in the habit because we're creatures of habit and you're thinking, well, If I always liked strained peas and suddenly it's not doing it for you, that's okay. You can enjoy doing something for a long, strained peas and suddenly it's not doing it for you. That's okay. You can enjoy doing something for a long time, and then if it doesn't bring you joy anymore, it's okay to change that to a thrift store. I can tell you plenty of times when I've gone to the back. Actually, no. We have a Restore across the street. I was waiting for my hoagie at the sub shop, my hoagie at the hoagie shop. So I went into there and I just looked around, but I wasn't looking for anything. And I took a picture of 2 folding chairs from a patio, and I thought, this is so funny. Back in the day, I would have grabbed these. Now I'm like, I'm leaving them for somebody else. Yeah, so Bonnie says, I love thrifting, but my house could be a thrift store. So Bonnie, how about this? How about playing thrifting? Play thrifting in your house. Pretend it's not your house. Pretending and playing is what I love to do. Use your imagination. Pretend it's not your house, and pretend it's one of those thrift stores that's in an old house somewhere. Walk around to each room and say, is there anything that you would pull from this thrift store and use for your dream house? What are the things you love? What are the things you would not pick up if you were in a regular thrift store? That will give you the indication of the things that may be easier for you to let go if you're decluttering your home. So, yeah. Oh, completely. And yes, this is a good one. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I love this one. Bonnie says to Anastasia, I say to myself now, in my past life, I would have bought that. Yeah, me too. I just said it. And it's so true. Past me would have bought that. Present me has no interest in it, because present me is also looking out for future me. And I already have experienced, because I've let the stuff accumulate in my life, the uncomfortable feeling of when things accumulate. And I don't want to lay that on somebody else. I'm actively working to decrease the amount of things in my life and increase the quality of what I keep. Yeah. And that one persona is also saying, and this is so true, and again, this goes back to feeling good physically and emotionally. Don't shame yourself, first of all, about anything. But do not shame yourself if you've had to deal with depression and big sads and are working your way out of them. Yeah, I love that you're working your way out of them. But when you're working on feeling better physically and emotionally and energetically and nervous system-y and spiritually, that takes priority. Working on from the skin within to feel better always comes before dealing with the stuff externally. Okay? So anything you can do externally while you're healing yourself is great. You're doing the both. You don't have to do one before the other. But make sure you're not in active pain and depression before you start things, or you may be setting yourself up to give yourself another reason why you're not doing well. No, Mabel, this is great. She says, I love that thrifting in your own house idea to help decide what you really want. Yeah. And that's why I go through and I have continued to kind of pull things away, because I'm like, yeah, you know what? I enjoyed collecting those for a while, but now I'm kind of done. And all they're doing is collecting dust. And I don't want a dust. I want a life filled with less dust, either things that need to be dusted or me doing dusting. So please, yes, do not shame yourself. Okay. Now, Anastasia says, I'm supposed to travel to California and I'm stuck with this stuff, ugh. Alrighty. Now, ugh is an indicator that you're not too psyched about it. What's the stuff you traveled? Where are you? If you give me some details, I might be able to help you. But you can always walk away from your stuff. You can. I don't necessarily recommend it, but in theory, you can. If you're traveling somewhere, are you traveling by plane? Are you traveling by car? Are you traveling by moving truck? Getting specific. How much stuff? If you're traveling by moving truck, you're going to carry a hell of a lot more stuff than if you are flying first class with just your carry-on, right? Now, I love it. Melissa's getting started by the morning by washing dishes before work and starting the laundry. Yeah. Morning, Mel. Nice to see you. And for those of you who are just meeting me this early time of year, It's 7:45 in the morning, East Coast time. My name's Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. Now, Deanna is saying I'm moving states. Watching you these years has allowed me to scale down big time. Yay. Notice how much easier it will be for you to pack that moving van and be excited about bringing your things that you've chosen to bring with you. Yeah, I don't know, plane, train, or automobile. Okay? So if you're traveling to California, yeah, if you don't know how you're getting there, you don't know what suitcase to bring. But notice if your stuff, what's this stuff? What's the stuff that you look at and you say, I'm stuck with you? And you're not like Huey Lewis and you're not happy to be stuck with you. You're like, shit, I'm stuck with this. And you're not happy to be stuck with you. You're like, shit, I'm stuck with this. There are things that we moved into this house 20 years ago that we still have. Many of those things, though, luckily are not in the UGG department. They're in the yay department. That we moved into this house 20 years ago that we still have. Many of those things, though, luckily are not in the UGG department. They're in the yay department. And it's going to be interesting, especially, I will say, for my husband, because he brought a lot of stuff with him with the intention of using and doing. I'm happy to be stuck with you. There we go. Beth is a pro. Yeah. And I play one on TV. But you may have things that you've carried around for 20 years and it takes you 20 years to decide to let go of it. That's okay. When it feels safe to do so, when your version of yourself is saying it's okay that I never really wore that cowboy hat that I bought 30 years ago, that I thought for 30 years I was going to wear that cowboy hat, but it really just stayed in that box. And I found a good home for that cowboy hat. I'm going to amble down and say, howdy, partner, and I'm going to give it to a neighbor. So decluttering is something that you will do throughout your life. I say this in a way that I don't want to overwhelm you, so do not allow this to overwhelm you. Decluttering is a life skill, which means that you will be using this skill throughout your life. Now, when you declutter the accumulated stuff, the stuff that is piled up from decades of not decluttering, that part will end. That pile will get smaller with every decision you make about what you want. You're either saying, yes, I want to keep it and it goes over here, or no, I don't want it and it goes over here. That pile will decrease. But once you get to where your house feels good for you in 2025, as you live in it and you get comfortable with it, you may then see another layer of stuff that you're okay to let go of. I did a declutter of the cabinet where we keep all of our Tupperware because it was getting overgrown. Now, listen, it's me, an overfed leaping gnome in a Hollywood movie. No, it's me, Beth, decluttering life coach professional, who shares with you that yes, I continue to declutter. Okay? I continue to declutter, and what I realized is we thought we were going to use more of those kind of takeout containers, so we shoved them in there, but then they were getting in the way. And then as I was doing that, the stuff that was in the back, there were a number of things. I can think of 4 things specifically that are still in storage there that I still have the intention of using that I thought, do I need that? I'm like, nah, I still might use it. The cake stand that goes with my Manhattan glass that I'll probably not make a cake, but I might put candles on it. I did see a butter dish that I've had since my my first wedding in 1992, that I realized we're not using that. And then I realized, I think I know somebody who might want it. There was a Pyrex bowl with a lid that I never use, so I'm going to donate that. So you will do things piece by piece, which again, continuing to do that will make it easier. So I show up to help you get started. Or if you've started, to help you continue. If you're stopped, how can we make it easier for you to start again? Now, Kat Roby has found that it makes it easier for her to start when she's got shoes on. There we go. All right? Oh, fun. Kara, excuse me. Nice to see you. Now, this is funny because now hubby has taken the father-in-law to a Woosocks game, which initially I was thinking of Woonsocket. Woonsocket, Woonsocket. But now I realize you mean Worcester. He grew up in Worcester, so they will tour old family sites. Yeah, man, I used to drive out to Worcester all the time to take pictures of old diners because that's where the Worcester lunch car company was, right? looking at George's Coney Island and that wonderful neon sign, probably one of the best neon signs, I would say, in all of New England. Yeah. And Calm Carolyn is saying, so yay for enjoying a road trip out and kind of circling around. I will share with you, I have driven in places where I used to be, and instead of saying I don't like this place, I say to myself, I love where I live. I love where I live. I am so glad I live where I live, that I found a place that I bloom, where I planted, because I can imagine myself living in a place like certain places and not enjoying them. So yay. Now this is cool. Calm Carolyn is bringing up a really good point. I am emotional today. I am feeling my feels, my nervous system, my feelings, my nerves. I'm emotional today. I'm feeling emotional today. I'm feeling emotions today. But just being around positive people, making changes, helps a lot. Yeah. So notice the difference, again, in environment. When you are surrounded by encouraging people who are actively creating a world that they want to live in, that can be inspiring to get you in action, and you put your shoes on and you do something, or it can just make you feel hopeful. It can help a lot to calm down the fear and the anger and the divisiveness that you see on TV, that you may be witnessing in your own communities. So do not underestimate the power of environment and community and what you're surrounded with on your nervous system. And when you are feeling nervous system not safe, you will not be showing up the best for yourself or other people. Okay? Yeah. So notice how your environment, and I say that as to the people who are the people in your neighborhood. We're a neighborhood right now. We're a neighborhood today at 7:52 a.m. on TikTok of 66, 67 people. And notice the difference when you are surrounded by flags that you don't agree with versus flags that you do agree with. Notice the difference when you feel safe being who you are and not be afraid that somebody's going to harm you for just trying to live your life. That can have an effect. How you feel in your home. Make your home an oasis. Even if outside of the walls of your home temporarily or permanently perhaps, I don't know, but outside of the walls of your home feels unsafe because of your environment, make your home a sanctuary. Transform your home into a place that gives you what you need, safety and comfort and feeling good, because it's really unhealthy to stay in an emotionally fearful state. But there are people on the planet, do not underestimate that there are people on the planet whose jobs it is to get you in a fearful state, because then you're controllable. Then you will look to them for solutions. You will buy their product. You will vote for their candidate in order to feel safety. But do not give in to the fearmongers, okay? Do not. Please learn to regulate your nervous system, as we say. Calm the F down. Get control of your emotions. Appreciate them. Get where they're coming from. And actively learn, as I teach you, to sit down, calm down, quiet down, write down, chunk down. Because that, when you feel better, you will get into more productive action and you won't be spinning your wheels. You'll be driving towards a life you want. And even if that life you want is literally just at the moment, kitchen looking and feeling better for me, start small, but just start. Okay? Now, I love this. Kat Roby says she reset the living room too. Great mirroring all before 5 a.m. Ready for her sunrise walk. Yeah, it's about 6 minutes and I better check. I think one of my clients rescheduled. I'm going to check my calendar here. Ooh, I got an order being delivered soon. How exciting. What a good way to start the day, don't you think? Something to think about maybe if you go on a walk. Maybe even having the idea of going for a morning walk. Do you go on a morning walk? Have you? Have you always wanted to go on a morning walk? I find my morning walks therapeutic. Physically and mentally beneficial, so much so that I have that on my habit tracker to ensure that I do that, because it makes me feel better mentally, nervous system-y, and energetically. Okay, there we go. It's got too hot there yesterday, so Kara is making use of the time where the weather's good. It got too hot yesterday, so heading out now to edit her yellow sedum that I hate, and she's putting in the pink that she likes better. Go weed your garden. Everybody, weed the garden in your home of the things you hate today. Take some inspiration from Kara's garden. Kara noticed what she planted and she realized she doesn't like it. She even used the H word, the hate word. Walk around your house and think of the things you don't like and weed your garden today. Collect up those weeds and go drive them to a place where somebody else may want them. A thrift store, a donation place, okay? But start when you're feeling good, when you're feeling good physically, temperature-wise. Perhaps you're an early bird and you want to do this before other stuff happens or while you have energy and focus. Maybe it's after hanging out in a good vibe of people who remind you you can do this and this is good and good for you. There we go. I'm gifting them and I have a visceral reaction to that color. Honey, right here, high-fiving you. I have visceral, and what does visceral mean? It means, I have a bodily reaction. I recoil. I rebuke certain colors. I do that too. There are certain colors you will not see anywhere in my house or on my wardrobe. And so notice the things that you have a visceral, in your viscosity here, in your body. What are some things when you walk around your home today, you have a visceral reaction to positively, drawn towards it like a magnet? I can't help myself. I'm drawn to that. That's a magnet. And what's the thing that repels you, that you recoil from, where your stomach goes, ugh, oh, I hate that. When your body is giving you those signals, honor what your body is telling you and do something about it. When you have a reaction, pay attention to what it is and do something to change it, because who wants to be walking around their house? Even me pretending to do that right now, going like this, makes my body be like, wait, are we throwing up? Is that something we're doing, Rat? No. But notice, even pretending throwing up can make you feel gross. Don't walk around your house feeling gross. Okay? I got my physical body afraid that we were sick. I am putting my hand on my heart. I am breathing down. I am calming down. I am reminding myself, no, we feel fine. We were just playing feeling gross. But that felt nasty to think I was going to throw up just by pretending. So when you are walking around your house, notice how your body feels. And when there are things that your body is saying, I don't like that, then you can say, what can I do about it? Maybe you even just take notes right now. You're taking inventory. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Now you have a list of things you can change. And even if you can't physically move the stuff, if it's too heavy, if it's too hot, as Lasardo says, if you have chronic pain because of autoimmune disease, you can do the decluttering in your head and in your heart is where it all starts. And then you can have a list and you can hand it to some big, burly person who can come and move this stuff for you. Or you can chunk it down and do some of it yourself by using a timer. Using a 15-minute timer to all done. 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. You start moving forward 15 minutes at a time, you will get closer to your destination. You don't give up. You keep on going. You will get there. And if you're afraid to do it alone, I'm here. All right? There we go. I love it. Anastasia pushed a hide a bed out the door at 11 p.m. to get it out alone. Yeah. There we go. So, I am going to go for a morning walk. Thank you for whoever suggested that. Yeah, there we go. We quote History of the World Part 1 all the time. As I sign off, Kat Roby, if you want to put that quotes in the comments, that may be great. but it's 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. The sun is out and it's not raining. You bet your sweet bippy I'm going to put on my sneakers. I'm going to put on a brown underpants and outdoor clothes, and I'm going to go take a walk before it starts raining again. It's going to be good for my physical health and my mental health. Do something good for your physical health and mental health today. Okay? Seriously, that's where you should get started. There we go. Sneakers on. It's going to be a thing. It is going to be a beautiful day. How can you make it a beautiful day for yourself? Even if you are in a sandy environment right now, how can you be creating an environment that allows you to bloom to your best capacity? How can you also be creating an environment that's going to make it easier for you to replant yourself if you choose to move? Okay? Just go touch grass, hug a tree, put your feet down on the ground. Even if you can't get outside, putting your bare feet on the ground and reminding yourself that you're connected to this earth, putting your hand on your heart, mammalian self-soothe, feel good, okay? Feel good and do good. And hey, we've got a YouTube Live. I just realized looking down at my stuff, we got a YouTube Live. I'm going to be sassy and not tell you what time it is because I want to remind you, especially everybody on the Destination Decluttered email mailing list, you know where to look. And we've got some decluttering parties that have also launched today too. Kara's going in the garden. I hope this was a fun morning for you guys. But I'm going to sign off now. Yeah, the Speakeasy page, Kat Ruby knows where it's at. All right, I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to get some stuff done. And I will see you on the YouTube Live in a couple hours. All right? And I say a few hours. All right? This was great. Do good stuff. You can do this. Bye.